I can't. I can't 10x your life. I can't help you make your life easier, but I can tell you what I did to do just that. Anyway, so a little while ago, one of you commented on my video, and that triggered me to take a screenshot, print it out, and get ready to talk to you about it. Sorry it took me this long to reply. So the comment is, it was an awesome answer. I forget what video it was for. I love your positive outlook on life. I think it's the right way to view the world we live in. I'm learning programming and machine learning. Phew, there is an overwhelming amount of knowledge, but I won't let that discourage me. Instead, I'm glad because there's so much interesting to explore, and I'll never run out of things to learn. Well, that's a fantastic attitude. Let me offer an idea how to increase even that. You see, a lot of folks talk about this hardship and that hardship and how everything is complicated. Well, since on this channel I talk about plasma and science and all of that, let me give you a plasma example. This is back when I was early on in my PhD studies. One of my jobs was to take in undergrads and summer high school students and train them, give them tasks. And there was one very hard problem that we were trying to work with. There's this tiny microplasma that fired randomly a few times per second, and those few times the little spark lasts for very short amount of time, maybe a microsecond or two. And we were trying to take a photo. So this is this really tiny spark. So the camera is looking through a microscope, and you need to sit there and click the shutter. Basically, you need to get lucky. You need to click the shutter right as the spark is beginning to fire. Yeah, now I know photography better. There are other tricks to do that, but back then I didn't. So I was struggling with this problem. And there comes this new undergrad who wants to help out with plasmas and all that. So instead of my usual of giving her a pile of documentation on the plasma, documentation, the camera and the microscope and all of that, I decided to not overwhelm her. And I just told her, hey, look, for the first thing, why don't you sit here, see that little spark happening occasionally? Why don't you take a picture of it? It's really easy. The keyword there is being easy. Now, we were trying to do that for a couple of months, and we didn't have a decent photo. And then this girl comes in and sits at the screen. She has no idea about plasma. This is probably the first time she's really sat at a microscope. And then a couple hours later, like right before lunch, I check in on her, and she's like, yeah, I took like 3 photos. Huh? Turns out it was easy. So let's talk about how to have an easy life. Look, just do it. Just change your attitude. Like the viewer's comment started with words like overwhelming amount of knowledge. Why don't you take a different approach? Why don't you think of it as easy? Look, there are people out there who have mastered whatever it is that you're trying to do, and it's easy for them. They have other challenges, more advanced challenges, but the thing that you're trying to do is easy for someone else. So one day it will be easy for you. So do this whole fake it till you make it. Just pretend it's easy. And for me, this makes everything flow so much smoother. Anytime I assume a new task, maybe it's something I've never done before, I start with the assumption that it's easy to do. And I don't have writer's block. I don't stall. I just do it because I know it's easy. if it's hard to pull into the task, well, I'm doing something wrong because it's supposed to be easy. And that attitude helps me. It helps me a lot. I read a lot on Stoicism, and Stoics, they put big power over your mind into your own mind. If you think something is hard, it becomes hard. If you think it's easy, it just might become easy. Funny story. 5-6 years ago, I wanted to go to a wood mill, lumberyard, and I wanted to check it out. I've never been to one, and I was kind of like an amateur woodworker. I made a cutting board for my wife, and I'm like, hey, it's the weekend, let's go check out this lumberyard. And she's like, yeah, sure, they're also having a barbecue. It's like an open house for them. So we went, got barbecue, and we're touring the lumberyard, and there are these two matched gigantic pieces of Pennsylvania black walnut. I mean, they were probably 2.5, 3 feet wide by about 12 feet long. Giant. And they were on sale, matched pair for $1,200. And my wife looks at the wood, looks at me, looks at the wood, looks at me, and she's like, yeah, you can make a table out of it. Dude, the biggest thing I've made was like a 12 by 18-inch cutting board. But I look at the wood, I look at her, I look at the wood, I look at her. Well, we did need a dining table, and this would make an amazing one if I could make it. So I did. I put it in a truck. I drive a pickup truck, so that was easy. I put it in a truck, drove it to the shop, and worked on it, and turns out it was easy. Just took me about 400 hours, but yeah, all in all, I calculated it's roughly 400 hours from the day I picked up the wood until the day the table was finished. It was a shit ton of work. And you could say that I took on an impossible task that I had no business of doing. I got a dining table out of it, and in hindsight, it was easy. So look, unsolicited advice, when you see a problem, start with, well, that should be easy to do, instead of, I don't know how to do that. And I think your life will improve. Mine did. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, especially if they have something to do with plasma, put them in the comment section below. I'm happy to chat about new things. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.